It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Flying down from Nova Scotia today.
This nation was founded by men of many nations and backgrounds.
I have a dream that all men are created equal.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have a liftoff.
Doom Nation, what's up? We are back once again with another episode of the Two Doom Men podcast. As always, it's Skaggs and your captain. And what are we talking about today, pal?
The NPCs are angry again. It does seem like every week now, we've now shortened it to week spans
Yes.
of reprogramming what everyone is angry about or what
Losing
everyone is told to be angry about.
control. That's
yeah.
what it is.
So the Supreme Court, a document has been leaked from the Supreme Court of their deliberations, their discussions amongst themselves on Roe versus Wade, which is a law that has to do with abortion. This is something I knew was coming down the pipe in the summertime. I knew that this case was going to be coming and this could happen. I just didn't expect for us to be talking about this now.
Yeah.
But I was expecting we were going to talk about this in like June or July or something like that.
Right. Why was this even a case?
So it's a case, I believe, in Mississippi. Someone is challenging it. Saying that it's not fair or something like that. I don't remember the exact details of the case that's challenging it, but what has leaked here is the Supreme Court justices and what they're talking about, which I guess they've
the draft version.
Yeah, the draft version, right? They've already gone over everything and have wrote their thoughts. I wasn't even aware that they go this far ahead until they actually hear a case, but that's the way it goes. So this leaked to Politico, which is a political online newspaper, and it says Supreme Court has voted to overturn abortion rights. Draft opinion show. So that's what it is, a draft opinion.
So question, did the FBI raid Politico to find out where they got this information from? Or is that just strictly for Project Veritas?
That's only Project Veritas when they run exposés. So it says the Supreme Court has voted to strike down the landmark Roe versus Wade decision, according to initial draft majority opinion written by Justice Samuel Alito, circulated inside the court and obtained by Politico. The draft opinion is a full-throated, unflinching repudiation of the 1973 decision, which granted federal constitutional protections of abortion rights, and a subsequent 1992 decision, Planned Parenthood versus Casey, that largely maintained the right. Roe was egregiously wrong from the start, Alito writes. We hold that Roe and Casey must be overruled, he writes in the document, labeled as the opinion of the court. It is time to heed the Constitution and return the issue of abortion to the people's elected representatives. Deliberations on controversial cases have in the past been fluid. Justices can and sometimes do change their votes as draft opinions circulate, and major decisions can be subject to multiple drafts and vote trading. That's interesting, right? They must trade votes amongst each other. Like, hey, you vote for this one, I'll vote for that one.
Well, there's got to be some type of system. Yeah.
All right. Sometimes until just days before a decision is unveiled. The court's holding will not be final until it is published, likely in the next 2 months. The immediate impact of the ruling as drafted in February would be to end a half-century guarantee of federal constitutional protection of abortion rights and allow each state to decide whether to restrict or ban abortion. It's unclear if there have been subsequent changes to the draft. So they're also saying this is a draft from February. It could be that they've changed this already. We're now in May, and it's unclear if that has happened.
And keep in mind, this is only just knocking it down to the states. Yeah. You know what I mean? Well, yes, some of these red states will probably ban it.
Yep.
But all your little blue states are going to keep it.
We'll dive in. Let me finish up here. No draft decision in the modern history of the court has been disclosed publicly while a case was still pending. That is a very generous way to say that this has never happened before, where someone has leaked internal confidential court, discussions like this. The unprecedented revelation is bound to intensify the debate over what was already the most controversial case on the docket this term. The draft opinion offers an extraordinary window into the justices' deliberations in one of the most consequential cases before the court in the last 5 decades. Some court watchers predicted that the conservative majority would slice away at abortion rights without flatly overturning a 49-year-old precedent. The draft shows that the court is looking to reject Roe's logic and legal proceedings. This is from Justice Samuel Alito. This is an important quote. He goes on to say that Roe was egregiously wrong from the start. Its reasoning was exceptionally weak, and the decision has had damaging consequences, and far from bringing about a national settlement on the abortion issue. Roe and Casey, the court after that, the case after that, Casey versus Planned Parenthood, have inflamed debate and deepened division. You can't tell me he's not wrong, right? Ever since these, right? I mean, this is a very divisive. I don't even like to talk about this stuff. I don't think we really ever have on the podcast, because it's like there's no good answer. There's no real winners in this debate to figure it out. I mean, we'll get into it, but last point here. A person familiar with the court's deliberations said that 4 of the other Republican appointed justices, Clarence Thomas, Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett, had voted with Alito in the conference held amongst the justices after hearing oral arguments in December. So they heard oral arguments on this all the way in December, and I guess it wasn't slated to come out until sometime in the summer. The 3 Democrat appointed justices, of course, they opposed. Let's see. I wanted to skip this part. Okay, so on Tuesday, after this article was published, Chief Justice John Roberts confirmed the authenticity of the draft opinion and said he was ordering an investigation into the disclosure. To the extent this betrayal of the confidences of the court was intended to undermine the integrity of our operations, it will not succeed. The work of the court will not be affected in any way, Roberts pledged in a written statement. This was a singular and egregious breach of that trust that is an affront to the court and the community of public servants who work there. Roberts also stressed that the draft opinion does not represent a decision by the court or the final position of any member on the issues in the case. The court spokesperson had declined comment pre-publication. I will stop there as it goes on a little bit further, but it's all kind of stuff that we will talk about. So I don't know, man. I know you were kind of chomping at the bit this week. It was me last week with the Twitter stuff, and this week.
That's why I got a drink in hand.
Yeah. This week it's going to be 2 white guys telling women what to do with their bodies. So let's get into it, man. What do you think?
I am furious. I really am furious. I don't even know where to begin. First and foremost, I mean, abortion was always one of the policies that I fell on the left-hand side of the aisle. I've always felt that there's no one should tell, I'm not the one carrying a baby. You know what I'm saying? So like, if women want to get abortions, go right ahead. But the outcome of this document being leaked, which is going to turn into a summer of terror, a summer of riot. Hopefully it won't, but the writing's on the wall. They had the fences up. People are already protesting. People are already getting out of control. I'll be pro-life if I have to. Fuck them all. I don't care. This is a declaration of war as far as I'm concerned. This wasn't leaked by accident. This was leaked on purpose. Okay. This was done to create chaos, sway decisions. This was an act of war, and no decisions have been made yet, but we're going to act and talk like decisions have been made. All right.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Well, that's how everybody's going to.
You mean that's how we're going to? That's you mean like what me and you, or what everybody else?
What everybody else is going to.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, gotcha.
We understand that no decision has been made.
Sure.
But I can promise you, if you listen to The View tomorrow, the Supreme Court already made their decision, just like Kyle Rittenhouse killed black people. It's not going to matter the facts of this case. It's only going to matter
The court
the
of public
agenda.
opinion.
Yeah. You know, and for the left, every week there's something new that is going to end democracy. Elon buying Twitter is the end of democracy. Russia taking over Ukraine, the end of democracy. This right here, the leaking of this information for the first time in what, 230 some odd years since the Supreme Court has been established. This has never happened before. And just right before an election season, during the strangest times in our lives, when we know there's corruption, this information gets leaked and it's going to cause chaos. That is something that's going to hurt democracy. Look at what's going on in the outside of this abortion case. The Biden administration just created the Ministry of Truth. What is it called? The disinformation,
the board of misinformation or disinformation or something like that. It's called the Ministry of Truth. If you haven't read George Orwell's 1984, it essentially is the Ministry of Truth from the book.
So I'm just going to take a few examples. 3. All right. We have this new Ministry of Truth coming, right? That's just an all-out assault on your First Amendment rights. There's a movie coming out, 2000 Mules. It's apparently, I haven't watched it yet. For all I know, it could be a cartoon. I'm not saying I'm dedicated to the truth of this movie, but it's apparently about massive election fraud that took place in the 2020 election. So there could be some election fraud that took place. And we'll take another topic such as the Durham investigation, where they're coming up finding that the whole Russiagate was a hoax, that the Trump administration was spied on, the campaign team was spied on, the transition team was spied on, the once in the White House they were spied on. They're trying to get to the bottom of this. These are 3 major cases that potentially could hit the Supreme Court. Well, if they were to turn into cases, would hit the Supreme Court.
Right, eventually.
But now the Supreme Court can't trust who they talk to. Now the Supreme Court, within their own little circle, doesn't know who's leaking information. If they go ahead and overturn Roe v. Wade, Biden can't really do anything. He's got his hands tied on whether or not they make this decision or not. So what is Biden going to do? He's going to pack the court. He's going to pack the court in his favor.
And if you think Captain's crazy, what did I just send you before?
Yep.
You know, our good friend Adam Schiff, he just tweeted about an hour ago, I don't care how the draft leaked. That's a sideshow. What I care about is that a small number of conservative justices who lied about their plans to the Senate intend to deprive millions of women of reproductive care. Codifying Roe isn't enough. We must expand the court. I just want to say I find it funny how he says intend to deprive millions of women reproductive care. Abortion is reproductive care. Okay.
Yeah. A lot of reproducing going on in abortion. So now look at these 3 big cases that potentially the Supreme Court could hear, all going to get thrown out because Biden's going to try and pack the court. It's only a matter of time before the cries to pack the court become a reality. All right. So this is what's so infuriating about it, that potentially the Supreme Court, whether it's corrupted or not, was really the last stronghold, and they're taking their shot at it. And truthfully, the establishment's losing big time. They really are, because Ukraine isn't getting traction. Vaccines and masks aren't getting traction. They played themselves from the start. Everybody hated Elon for a week. How long has Elon owned Twitter now? Well, technically,
he's not in charge or owns it yet. It's going to be a long process.
But democracy was going to die last week.
Mm-hmm.
You know
what's fun? You know what's funny about this point you keep making, which is true because it's what they're saying. This is a threat to democracy or whatnot. If Roe versus Wade is overturned, that doesn't mean that abortion is illegal.
Right.
Roe versus Wade essentially makes it so that abortion can't be made illegal, right? So it doesn't make it that it is guaranteed or something like that. It just makes that it can't be made. It's almost like our other constitutional rights that are founded in negative rights. You can't take away this right from someone. So that's kind of essentially what Roe versus Wade is doing. But if it is overturned, that means that it can go back to the states for each state to vote on or deliberate on and decide how they want. Isn't that democracy?
Yeah.
But that's a threat to our democracy is a threat to our democracy now as well. like you said
Well,
before.
because
earlier.
they want abortion to be federally funded so they could harvest baby organs, just like Planned Parenthood got caught doing it. They admitted it. Okay, it's not even a conspiracy. It sounds so crazy. It's fucking true.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay,
I understand. I'm
there's
not ruling it out.
millions and
I have
billions
heard,
to be made with
I have heard
abortion.
of the, I have heard that story before. I'm not ruling it out.
Yeah. You know, there's so much money to be made. This, as far as I'm concerned, tinfoil hat, I don't care. This was done to disrupt the election process, disrupt the Supreme Court, disrupt all these cases that are eventually going to be heard, and everything's going to be a negative impact on the Democrats. The red wave's coming, you know, whether the election becomes a one issue, vote or not. I don't,
Okay, so I see what
ahead.
you're saying, right? You're going to say the red wave's coming. This was a master political psyop move.
Yeah.
Because this is a very emotional topic, right? This is something that people are very invested in on both sides, right? If you're a conservative Christian, you of course are very pro-life and you were willing to like lay down your life to protect innocent children. And then if you're some like staunch believer in women's rights, you think, fuck the government, they can't tell me what to do. So you've now taken a issue that's very emotionally charged on both sides, and you've underhandedly thrust it into the public conversation in order to spin it in your narrative when things were going downhill for the Democrats, right? After the COVID regime and all these things, you're right, there was a red wave coming, but this was, in my opinion, a political masterstroke in order to change the to try and hold back the tide of the red wave, right? Because yes, I was joking before and I said the NPCs are angry again, etc., and they are. But I have seen many of my friends who are women are now kind of annoyed and angry about this, right? And I'm not trying to put them down or say that they're dumb or anything like that. They are not going to be able to have the time to look into this as deeply as me or you do, because we do a fucking podcast about politics and we still don't have that much time to look into it. They're not going to understand that this is not a ban on abortion. This is simply saying abortion can be made illegal, but it's not an actual ban. Roe versus Wade does not guarantee you the right to an abortion. It just said that the government cannot make it illegal to get an abortion. So deliberation still has to occur, but people automatically assume abortion is going to be made illegal throughout the entire country. But that's not the way it is. Like if you live in Connecticut or New York State, you're good. You can still get an abortion, like you said before. Ain't no way, Governor Hochul and the New York State Congress and all that shit are going to just magically overturn abortion and make it illegal in New York State. They're going the opposite way in New York State, right? Remember a year or two ago, they were proposing like late-term abortions up to like almost the day the baby's born. So they're going
in the state of New York. You could,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you could, in the state of New York, I'm pretty sure up to the day you were supposed to be due. And then I even heard
probably something like that, or sit very.
And then
close,
I even heard other states, and I don't have the information on it, so I'm not going to say it's true. But there's always circling around of people trying to have like abortion like 28 days after the baby was born. Like I heard a lot of crazy stuff like that. I don't have the information if that's true or not, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, fuck it. The left is a very strange party for what they want for children. They want to kill your children in the womb. They want to they want to give them puberty blockers. They want to give them the right to take transgender surgery. They want to groom them at young ages. It's a very weird, like, these are weird things to want for like children as a political party.
You know what's weird about that too is that if you challenge them on, and I'm a conscientious objector here on the morality of each side, but if you as a conservative challenge them on those things, they'll say this is not a political issue. You can't challenge me on this as a political issue because this is a moral issue, right? No, it is a political issue.
Yeah,
I don't think. And I think they're nefarious, of course, as most things are on the left, but they try to portray it as you're a bigot for trying to debate me or challenge me on this. It's not a political issue. You're a bigot. I don't think they don't understand or they're just being nefarious. Conservatives just don't believe this shit. They don't believe in it. They don't believe it, and they're not for it, right? It doesn't mean that they're bigoted. It's not like their ideology. Your ideology is different. and their ideology is different, right? So it is a political issue, but they use the argument of this is not a political issue. This is a moral and issue. You can't challenge me. You can't do this. You can't do that on it. There's like no compromise to be had when there needs to be some sort of compromise, because especially on this issue, this is a messy issue. Me and you are not gonna be able to figure this out on this episode, right? There's no way. It's impossible. No. And I don't think anybody could figure it out, right? Because it's scientific, there's moral, there's religious, there's individual freedoms and rights. There's so many things invested. There's two people in one body at the same time. How do you solve for that? Even libertarians can't really solve for that perfectly either, right? Because of the non-aggression principle, you can't use violence against another person, but are you using violence against a person who's inside your body if you're killing them? It's a very complicated scenario. I could go on here for fucking ever trying to hash it out, but we're not going to be able to.
No, Ronald Reagan put it the best. Everyone who's in favor of abortion has already been born. Okay. What you say though is correct. This is a very messy, divisive issue. But like I said at the beginning of the episode, I am pro-choice. I really, the argument comes up, oh, well, if you ban abortion, well, what about incest? If it's incest, I think you, the baby, and your brother should all be killed because you're disgusting human beings. Okay. Well, what about rape? I think the bare minimum the government should allow you to do if you've been raped is choose whether or not you keep the baby. Okay. We can't take away the fear and the trouble and the trauma that caused when you were being raped. Whatever you want to do. I am pro-choice. And for a very long time when I was younger and in my heyday, like, yeah, I didn't want to have a kid. Now I'm older, a bit more mature, a bit more financially stable, where if I did knock up somebody, it wouldn't be the end of the world, So, but for the fact that this information was nefariously leaked and it's going to cause all this chaos, and it was timed to do it around an election season, my standpoint, scorched earth, pro-life, don't care. I want
you hate this like juggernaut agenda that's relentlessly underhanded and has no moral core so much that you're willing to be like, fuck it, I'm just taking the other side because I hate you.
Just I have to stand against the machine. I can't, even if I agree with everybody screaming that we can't ban abortion, the fact that it was done this way, because at the end of the day,
you're allergic to siding with them on anything. I know what you mean. Yeah.
So, but it changed the landscape, and this is an actual threat to democracy. Not losing Roe v. Wade, but the tearing apart of the Supreme Court is literally the definition of a threat to democracy.
Yeah, it is, right? I mean, I saw,
and nobody's going to be able to understand that because it's another one of these shielded conversations. It's just the same reason they put a gay guy in this position and a black woman in this position, because if you challenge them on their morals, or if you challenge them on their policies, you're a homophobe, you're a racist, you're a sexist. You try and talk to somebody about this topic, and it's well, you want to get rid of abortion. No, I don't want shit like this to happen again. That the Supreme Court just gets taught, their information just gets tossed out.
The norm now, right? You're gonna say like this is any hot button issue that they're gonna decide on. They're gonna be looking over their shoulder, right? And the point I was gonna make is that like the leak, it's an intimidation tactic, right? Mm-hmm. Of violence. Just like when Taylor Lorenz doxed libs of TikTok, very similar stuff now, right? If you're a Supreme Court justice, this is a very hot button issue, and you're Justice Alito, one of the conservative justices, right? Now you got to look over your shoulder. Now somebody might try and kill you. There are people protesting in front of the Supreme Court. It's the threat of violence, or violence itself is the tool people are trying, or the intention of leaking something like this to then get what you want. Even if me and you might agree with the issue, right? I don't agree with the threat of violence in order to get the issue passed, right? And that is exactly what it is. And this is a thing that has been happening in our society, in our culture now for the past couple of years. This goes into the fact that words are violence and not violence is violence.
I'm glad you bring that up.
We saw it when Chris Rock got slapped by Will Smith, right? And everybody, and you know what I mean? Like, and that was a stupid fucking scenario. And I used that with Jimbo the Kid. And I was like, dude, this is a thing that they're pushing, right? You can say something mean to somebody, and that's violence. You could punch somebody in the face, and that's not violence. That's exactly what this is. And that is just when your arguments suck, when your ideology sucks, when your position sucks, the only thing you can do is use violence and use underhanded tactics and censor things in order to get your way. Because if you just allowed open, honest discussion and conversation about things like guys like Elon Musk want to do, your fucking shit ideology is going to lose, right? So they can't have that. Go ahead. I know you're chopping on that.
And that's why I want to fight this. That's why I will be pro-life if I have to. And I'm glad you brought up the Chris Rock thing, because you saw what happened to Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, he got tackled. Yeah.
He got attacked on stage. So fucking thank you, Will Smith, for setting this agenda now that if somebody makes a joke you don't like, we could start beating them.
Yeah.
And I'm glad.
I think that.
I am fucking so glad Dave Chappelle's bodyguards destroyed that piece of shit. He had a lump on his head bigger than a grapefruit, and his arm was bending the other way. This is the repercussion if you start doing shit like this.
Yeah,
you're gonna get your fucking ass whooped. Yeah,
of course. I believe in the non-aggression principle, but I believe wholeheartedly in self-defense. The funny thing about that with Dave Chappelle is Chris Rock was actually there, and he got up on stage. He got up on stage and he took the mic from Dave, and he's like, "Was that Will Smith?" That was pretty funny. Dave Chappelle seemed to laugh it off. He's fine.
But you know what, though? Shit like this, Dave Chappelle, I know we're off topic now.
No, good.
One of the greatest comedians and somebody who shaped our younger years. I mean, that was one of the craziest, funniest shows when we were younger. And Dave Chappelle's been paid 10 times over. So now what's going to happen? Either we're going to lose Dave Chappelle from the limelight, and we're never going to get to see his awesome comedy again, because this isn't worth it to him. He's an older guy with a family and lives in a hippie part of town that nobody knows where, you know what I'm saying? Like, he doesn't need this shit.
I know, but I think he enjoys doing the comedy.
Or he is going to take a month or two and come out swinging fucking hard. And I hope he does.
Yeah. All right, so getting back on topic, right? I got a couple of other points I wrote down here. This is a political stunt, right? And it's a political masterstroke, like I said before. First of all, Roe versus Wade was done all the way back in the 70s. Since then, since the 70s, the Democrats have controlled, the government multiple times since then. If they really wanted to, they could have completely enshrined this into settled law. Since the 70s. They could have done it the past couple of months, right? Where they've controlled most of everything. They could have done it when Obama was a president. Actually, Obama even ran on making sure that this would be enshrined in settled case law. And then when he became president, he said, oh, well, it's not at the top of my to-do list of things.
He lied
at the moment. So not only is this just a political move in order to try and get you to be conned into voting for the Democrats again and the midterm elections, but it's a carrot on a stick. They're probably not even going to do anything if they do use this and they do win, right?
Yeah.
They're not. They're going to. It's like universal health care and all these other things. They just vote for us because we'll do these things that you want, and then they never do it.
I was just going to say, if they enshrined Roe v. Wade and it was a solved, how did you put it?
Settled, yeah,
a settled case, yeah. If it was completely done, they wouldn't have this hot topic issue to debate over.
Yeah.
Just like Bernie Sanders' entire career. If he got one of the two things he ever ran on done, he'd have nothing left to run on.
Yeah.
If this
the
is
the squad, that's what they're built upon. We're going to do these magic things for you, and then they never actually do it. You could ask Jimmy Dore about that shit.
Yeah. This is like carrying your little pistol on your ankle. You always got something in your back pocket for, to pull out on a rainy day. And abortion's one of those little, back pocket issues. Yeah. And so a little side note for Doom Nation, we got a couple of big things coming up. We'll talk about that later, but Skaggs and I have been throwing around the idea of possibly going down to the city, a liberal stronghold,
yeah.
and interviewing, because we can't get liberals on the show. And we want to have liberals on the show. We want other opinions.
Specifically.
Yeah. And I'm excited to ask, like, so do you support Ukraine? Oh, yeah, I support Ukraine. Do you think the Supreme Court should be overturn Roe v. Wade? No, they shouldn't. Do you think abortion's greater than or less than the war in Ukraine?
Interesting.
And just watch them melt down that they have to pick one over the other, because whichever way they go, whichever,
Yeah, they just
if they go, well, the war in Ukraine's
circuit.
worth, but do you not care about a woman's right to an abortion? Well, yeah, but abortion's right, but people are dying in Ukraine. Bad Russia, man. Just, I mean, that's a personal attack that,
Yeah.
We are going to look for actual answers and information out there, but we're going to
be
have
interesting.
fun.
We'll see. We'll try and have fun with it. We're working on it. I kind of wanted to get into more of like a little bit of an ideological discussion with you too here, just about the Supreme Court in general, because I know a lot of the conversation has been that, this is going to get rid of the trust in the Supreme Court and the this and the that and this, the sanctity of the court and etc. Right? Personally, I don't believe in any of that shit. I think it's all fucking scam, and there's no such thing. Whatever fucking hot, fucking whatever hot air they're blowing up your ass here is completely bullshit, right? And this is something that changed recently. My mind was, in the past couple of years, was changed tremendously by Murray Rothbard and the Anatomy of the State, and reading into all these things, and just like the idea of the state and the idea of governance, right? People think that like these things that society and laws are like ones and zeros, right? And when you get a one, it's impossible for it to go back to a zero, right? That because something's a constitutional right, or something is a settled law of Roe versus Wade, that's settled law. That'll never be overturned. That's impossible, right? These institutions, the Supreme Court, the government, the state, right? They're made up of people, right? And number one, people got to believe in that shit in order for it to even mean anything. So if you want to believe like the court is a sanctimonious place, you have to actually believe in that. Then you have to have honor to follow that up. All it takes is a bunch of people who don't believe that, right? Like me, or like some crazy liberal leftist, right? Who gives no shit. They just believe in power only. When you have people like that, then all these things, these binaries that you think are settled forever, they can be changed, because that's just the way life is, right? At any moment, a fucking asteroid could come and hit the planet and it's over. That's just the way like the world, the universe, nature is. Like this is not a simulation as much as people want to think it is. Have you ever seen these scientists now like, oh, we're living in a simulation? And we're not.
Why not? Yeah.
We're not living in a simulation, right? Random shit happens all the time. Violence happens all the time. And just people living can just change shit with like guns and rocks and whatever the fuck they have, right? The order of society is not guaranteed. It's not a static environment forever. So I think this completely validates some of the things that Murray Rothbard was talking about, right? Because he makes the point of, well, everybody thinks that this is a moral institution, right? And if he makes the point of, if the Supreme Court rules something in terms of being completely constitutional, that's the ultimate supreme say on it being constitutional. Then he makes a counterpoint. Well, then if they rule something as being unconstitutional, then that's the supreme say of like God, essentially, that it's not constitutional. Well, who's really to say if it's constitutional or not? Or who's to really say if it's wrong or not? 9 people wearing robes? Why? They're just people as well. They could be politically corrupted as well, right? It doesn't mean, like, if they were to say tomorrow, the Second Amendment is unconstitutional, are you going to believe that that's true?
No, of course not.
Exactly. Yeah. That is what the point I'm trying to make. That can happen. That can happen, right? Your rights and all that stuff doesn't come from 9 guys with robes or 9 women from robes or whatever. Your rights come from you being a human, or from God if you're a religious person, right? So all of this stuff, I said it to Larry Sharp. Remember, it was like, I don't need the Second Amendment to believe in my right to self-defense or gun ownership, right? Because that is a fucking natural, inherent belief that I believe in, right? I don't need a piece of paper. And Larry Sharp was like, no, thank God we have a piece of paper. I understand his logic, right? It is good that is on paper. Yes, I'm not saying it's not, but that could be changed. all this shit can be changed. People could just society, culture shifts, right? And all this can mean nothing. So this is, in my opinion, a validation of that thought of some of the things Mary Rothbard has spoken about.
I don't disagree with you, and I got a huge sneeze coming, so I'm going to nail it right in the middle of the sentence. But you said, like, you know, something about the majority. It's whatever, like, the most people believe. And I don't disagree with you, because, you know, if the Second Amendment was gone tomorrow, I would still be packing a 9. You know, it's not going to change what I believe. The only issue is, like, the world we live in right now. The majority of people do feel that the Supreme Court is, you know, the supreme say of the land. Unfortunately, you're right. That's where it has to change. That people need to move away from this ideology and from this system and this construct of, you know, what is our government and how things are passed.
You're making my point. You're saying majority of the people do believe that the Supreme Court is this, you know, sanctimonious thing, right?
Yeah.
My point is, it only is because those people believe in it.
Yeah.
Right. And as soon as that majority doesn't, it no longer is, because life and the state and society and all these things, they only are what you make of them, right? They are constructs, like you said. That was a great word. They are constructs. And as soon as people don't believe in that construct anymore, it dissipates or goes away. It changes the rules. Yeah.
The challenge, though, is shifting to, you know, to move away, you know, get the majority to believe the other way than this way,
or the better way.
You know, the other problem is, like, I know there's a lot of bots out there, you know, and I know there's a lot of tricks and, you know, fake narratives and fake news that gets pushed out there by social media and you know, mainstream media and stuff like that. But genuinely, there is a large fucking amount of stupid people walking outside these four walls. There is. I mean, there's still people that truthfully believe Kyle Rittenhouse killed black people. And, like, you could show them the video and you could show them the case, and they're just so stupid that they can't, you know, get it. That they can't understand that, like, what they've been told is a lie. So the level of intelligence also plays into all of this. That's why abortion is a great thing to come around during an election year, because it's an emotional topic.
Yeah.
When our last election, Trump's a bad man, you got to get Trump. We got to, you know, anti-elect Biden because Trump's so bad. We're running on emotions. The establishment is a terrible establishment. They have fucked up time and time again since Trump got into office. I would have done things way differently for them.
Oh, I know. You're the master manipulator of everybody. We got to watch out for you.
Yeah.
Because if Captain gets in charge, everybody's fucked.
Yeah.
He's gonna psyop the shit out of everybody.
I wouldn't have played it the way they did. But the one thing they are good at is getting emotions high.
Yeah.
And you know what I looked up either yesterday or this morning? When did George Floyd die? May 25th.
Yeah.
2019. George Floyd's death led to a summer of riots and a hot button racial emotional issue to go to the voting booth on come November. And here we are, first week of May, bombshell report hits, probably going to lead to a summer of rioting right into a emotional election.
Yeah.
So you know,
you think it's not a coincidence around the timing, right? That it's in May.
No,
I will point to a quote of the wise and powerful 50 Cent, right? And the song is called Heat. And the quote goes, "In the hood, summertime is the killing season. It's hot out this bitch. That's a good enough reason." It could be that the people pulling the strings and the psyop knows that in the summer, people are more likely to go outside and riot and burn things down because it's just warmer outside. You can go outside without a jacket You could go outside more
Yeah.
comfortably. How many riots and just wild, crazy acts of mass violence occur in
December.
January or
Yeah.
December when there's 3 feet of snow on the ground in the Northeast? Like, it don't happen, right? Because people are
Yep.
cold. It's just like a product of nature. It influences our
ask-
behavior somewhat.
Yeah. If you ask a seasoned police officer,
Right.
middle of December, middle of January, middle of July, rainy day, sunny day,
Right,
day,
of course.
70 and breezy, blizzard.
Yeah.
When's
It's
when's
just
more crime committed?
Human and right, and the
Yeah.
people in charge that manipulate the masses, they know that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it could be that they didn't want to wait until the this decision came, towards the end of
Yeah.
summer, right? Because the summer may have been over, right? They want it now. They want to see where they could lead. I don't think, maybe you'll disagree with me here, I do think this is a really hot button issue. I don't foresee people going in the streets and burning down buildings.
I do.
I just don't. Why do you think so?
For two reasons. One, it's the thing to do for the left, right? They got away with it for George Floyd. The precedent was set we've already seen the playbook. Q might not be real, but a lot of the shit that he said, like you could take out, of these drops, and they said we know the playbook already. So I think one, people feel they're going to need to protest, and two, even if people don't feel the need to protest, there was a lot of conspiracies and a lot of shady shit going around during the George Floyd riots of people being paid from out of state to show up and antagonize and provocateurs and stuff. And I see that easily happening. The FBI, we know the FBI for a fact was involved in January 6th. We know the FBI was solely involved in trying to kidnap Whitmer, Governor Whitmer. Basically, just 2 guys were framed by
14
the
out of
FBI.
16 guys were FBI informants or agents or whatever.
So I don't think it's impossible, because the left is going to want to protest and voice their opinion. And it's so stupid too, because people are going to protest in LA and in Manhattan, where when Roe v. Wade gets overturned, you're not going to lose it in that state. You got to go to Florida or some other bleeding heart conservative,
Right.
Bible Belt state. Go protest there, because that's where they're going to lose that shit. Burning down a bodega in Lower Manhattan you're not losing abortion, but this guy's going to lose his fucking business.
And then why should you even go there? Like, if you live in Manhattan, again, you're safe. Maybe enough people don't know that, right? Like,
That's
you're
the problem.
fine. And they will go. It's this thing where people need to impose their ideology on everybody, right? And even if I kind of agree with your ideology, right? I'm an anarchist at heart. I don't think I should impose my ideology on everybody else, right? And if some red state wants to say our morals cannot allow this because we're all Bible Belt Christians and we are going to outlaw this, all right, that's where you live. That's what you want, right? Okay. Yeah.
Hey, New York and California are hemorrhaging people. Leave that nice little red state, with your cheap gas and your open fields and stuff.
Yeah, right. There's
and
plenty
move
of
in,
room. There's
move
plenty of space.
into Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Tell us how you like it, pal.
Move into
Enjoy.
Poopy-
You know what I'm
Poopy
saying?
Pants
Like,
Town. Yeah, we're just or San Francisco. It's lovely there, I've heard.
yeah, so
man.
it's all too convenient.
Yeah.
So
I just don't know. I don't know. I feel like it's a bit different, right? I feel like the George Floyd riots were obviously like you had this like shocking video of this horrific thing that happened to George Floyd, right? Which pissed people off. And then you have like people are in the streets like combatively against the very organization who just did this thing to that guy. And that leads to like conflict happening.
Yeah.
Add in antagonizers and agents provocateur and the FBI. Like, yes, I agree. Like those things happen, right? Like those influencers and etc. They happen, but there was still like that ground
anger,
right? And all you need is a person that drops the match in order for same thing like with January 6th, right? You had a groundswell of anger. All you need is the FBI people to get in there and be like, hey, we should break in here and et cetera, So
2 more points for the rebuttal to that. I agree. I don't think there's that type of violent anger because no one's died. There was no shocking video or anything like that. But two things. This is still unfolding. For all we know, next week, there could be another shocking piece of evidence, or like I said earlier in our group chat, don't be surprised if at one of these protests a cop kills somebody, and then that angers people. You know what I'm saying? So there could be stuff that could really set this off. But the second part of this is back to the establishment fucking sucks at this stuff. Just like remember in Washington, D.C., the January 6th protest a year later, when it just ended up being nothing but feds, and everybody was like, come on, bro,
rally,
come on, this is pathetic. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't be surprised to see the establishment overplay their hand yet again, because they never fucking learn, and think that people are going to burn down cities, and then they're going to pay people to burn down cities. And the only people that are showing up to burn down cities are the paid actors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So don't be surprised if they,
it'll be funny. People will laugh at it because of how obvious it'll be. Like the Fed rally.
Exactly. Don't be surprised that that's like the route that the establishment thinks things are going to go, and that's going to be the reality of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah, we will. Because if you look closely at it, like I wish like we had enough time or we could hire somebody to like rewatch all the episodes and stuff, because you could see the crises shortening, and you could see the conspiracies. You know how we always talk about
time
how
between,
like,
you mean like the time in between? Yeah, I agree with
so,
that. Yeah.
So like a conspiracy, it was 50 years ago, 60 years ago when JFK died. We don't have the answer to that conspiracy. But now, like, Nazis in Ukraine is disinformation and a conspiracy theory on Monday, and by Friday it's confirmed. They're losing grip, they're losing control. Elon Musk wasn't a big enough person to distract them. What's going on in Ukraine's only been going on for 3 months, almost 4 months. You know what I'm saying? The time frame for the NPCs to be angry are shortening and shortening and shortening.
Well, maybe they're learning as they go, right? The lizard people are learning as they go, and they realize we can only keep people so emotionally angry and invested for this amount of time, especially
then you need more crises,
especially when we have been doing nothing but keeping them angry and emotional for a certain period of time, right? You can't, they've learned, right? Like human nature, you can't be so angry and outraged over one thing like for a long period of time consecutively. Like each time your ability to stay angry shortens and shortens and shortens until the point where maybe every single day now they're going to be dropping another thing just to outrage and shock you and piss you off, so that you'll just keep staying angry and vote for me because I'll solve all your problems, blah blah blah, whatever.
And you look at the theory of the Great Awakening, right? Oh, COVID, masks, we need masks, masks. Oh, ivermectin's bad. And here we are, take horse drugs.
Oh, I have that. I have that for later. Yeah, I have.
Yeah, and then a few weeks ago, I cannot define a woman, but now we know what women's rights are. My body, my choice. Don't get jabbed. They played themselves from the fucking start with all this.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, everybody realizes that, though. I see it. I see through it all now. So do you.
People are realizing it, because these crises are getting shorter and shorter. The only reason they're getting shorter and shorter is because they don't have support. So everybody, will take 1 million people was behind COVID. 900,000 people were behind George Floyd, and then 500,000 at the next crisis, and so on and so on and so on. You know what I'm saying? Like, because people
maybe. Could be.
It's almost like
their reach is like lessening each time.
Yeah, because more people are waking up. So every time there's a new crisis, someone from the last crisis isn't going to agree with it. You might be a Ukrainian immigrant who doesn't want Russia to invade your homeland, but you might be pro fucking life as they come. You know what I mean? So the last crisis, that was a big hot button for you, but this one, I'm not supporting this. This goes against what I'm saying. So you lose people each time.
Maybe you lose
another
people as well because each time a few more people get red pilled by
yeah.
how on the nose it was.
Yeah. And then some politician does something stupid with each crisis, and that loses them a few voters. It might gain them a few voters, but it also loses some. And then the next time around, when Adam Schiff's calling for something crazy, they're like, nah, bro, like you're out of your mind. Like I saw how you acted the last time around. Just like Kamala Harris. I hope I'm not ruining your
Oh,
tweet
you are,
thing,
yeah.
but like
You're ruining all
then
my
I won't
best-
even
my
get into her.
tweets.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna run a little segment here at the end, a new segment called Tweets of the Week. We're gonna pick a couple of the most outrageous, crazy tweets.
Yeah.
Or good tweets.
I got two of them. So.
We'll save it for the very
Yeah.
end, just to keep people entertained here.
But I also,
go ahead.
I have one last point.
Yeah,
I also wonder, like, I'm not saying Q's real, but they always said it had to be this way. We had to wake the masses up. Like, what if each crisis is designed to wake a different segment of people up? You know what I mean? Like, we're not overlapping any crises. Because I was looking at that punch card thing, that stupid meme that you sent.
Oh, yeah.
Where it was like Biden, COVID, blah,
I sent Chris it was a punch card, and it's like each of these like crazy fixated things that have happened where everyone fixates on one thing and they get outraged by it. Yes, and it was Biden, it was BLM, it was getting vaccinated, it was Ukraine, it was Elon Musk and Twitter, and some other things, and now
it's abortion,
and then there was a couple extra empty slots, and then at the end it's like, and then you get your free toaster. So if you punch every slot, you get a free toaster eventually.
So I'm wondering if like each time like a different sect of people wake up to the bullshit, you know what I mean? Like a different portion of the majority or the minority wake up to the bullshit and get red pilled. So because it's a different topic each time. And my final thought on that card that you were talking about, I really think food shortages are going to come. Biden said there's going to be food shortages. Food processing plants just keep 14 of them burnt down this year alone already. It's very odd. It's very suspicious what's going on. There's going to be a standpoint, and it's either going to be like, oh, you're selfish because you want to eat, or it's going to be the vegan standpoint of like, well, we shouldn't be eating meat anyway. Like, I think people are uneducated enough to, my team told me and the TV told me not to be selfish and don't eat meat. So you're a piece of shit for wanting to eat normally like you have for the past, X number of years. I think that might be.
We'll see. Maybe we'll
there.
have to break that card out every once in a while and see if we can fill it in with future things. It's interesting. I don't think the establishment or the state is trying to red pill people. I just think what they're doing, going back to what you say, is they suck at it, and they're accidentally red pilling people because they're constantly overplaying their hand. Although I do think this was a political masterstroke. I think I think the abortion thing, they realized this was like they went all in here in like a last ditch effort and went nuclear to try and salvage themselves. Getting back to it real quick.
Yep.
I find a very funny, and this kind of goes back to what I was saying before about the whole thing is completely bullshit, in my opinion, the way the court works, etc. A lot of the people on the left have been outraged, right, about how the conservative judges are sort of siding ideologically in a conservative fashion, right? They're saying
shocking,
right? And this has been a thing. This is Adam Schiff just said it, etc. Right? They lied to us, this, that, whatever, right? And people are being outraged. How dare they? The court is supposed to remain apolitical. I've seen, which means they're not supposed to be political. No. They're supposed to be, just look at things and just take each thing as it comes and not, put their ideology on it. Right? That's bullshit. When they are confirmed, the entire process is political. They are grilled and interviewed and asked questions by politicians who ask them questions along the ideological lines those politicians believe in. You can use Bernie Sanders as an example, right? Many times he has said any new Supreme Court justice, they should have to pass a litmus test over whether they would overturn Citizens United, which is another case, right? Has to do with corporations contributing to politicians, right? What the fuck is that? That's an ideological thing Bernie Sanders believes in, and he's saying, "I'm
that
only
old fuck gets paid.
I'm only gonna confirm a Supreme Court justice if they believe and they do exactly what I want them to do." I'm not even saying I disagree with Bernie Sanders. I'm just saying he said that, right? Or you can use the dumb fucking example, which just recently happened when Marsha Blackburn asked the new Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, "What is a woman?" Right? That was an ideological question to ask because right now the left cannot really define what is a woman. Supreme Court Justice Brown, she said, "I can't really answer the question." What she said, "I'm not a biologist or whatever."
Yeah,
Right?
I can't define what a woman is.
That was an ideological answer. That was an ideological question, right? I'm not 100% sure if Marsha Blackburn voted for her or not, but that was ideology being espoused and being used as the reason why this person's getting in or they ain't getting in. So for then you to turn around and be like, "How dare they believe in their ideology," right? What do you mean? You just used that to like confirm someone. You wanted someone who believed in your ideology. That's why you confirmed them. Why do you want to expand the court? Because you want to put 3 more people who believe in your ideology. Yeah. Right? And then you turn around and say, "How dare they vote in their ideology?" It's bullshit. The whole thing is fucking bullshit.
Just like when the mainstream media was dumbfounded that during Trump's campaign, he was talking to his base. These rallies. No shit. What do you expect him to do?
Those are bad faith, nefarious arguments, right? These people are trying to paint themselves as apolitical and that we believe in they're standing on ceremony. We believe in the sanctimony of the courts, right? We don't believe in using ideology to influence the courts, but we do. That's literally exactly.
But we shape the court ideology through ideology.
Exactly. One other interesting thing I did learn a lot as this has been thrust back into the national spotlight. I learned a little bit more about Roe versus Wade and how it doesn't really just, like make you have the right to an abortion. It makes the government not be able to make abortion illegal. But I learned that 21 states, they actually have auto trigger laws that will turn on if Roe is overturned. And most of them will either outright ban or enact further restrictions on abortion immediately. So states like, I can't go through the whole list, it's 21. They're all different. They all have different rules, different restrictions, whatever. But some, like, as soon as Roe is overturned, they already have a law already passed saying when Roe is overturned, this law that we made with this restriction automatically goes in place in some of the states. That's interesting. I didn't know that was that was around.
Why should anybody care? Because each state has all these gun laws. Treat it like a gun.
Yeah, essentially the whole thing goes back to being states' rights issues, right? It goes back to democracy. If you want to
the way things should be,
then you should vote for pro-choice politicians, right? I mean, I think, again, I'm an anarchist. I think the whole thing is completely bullshit. This is what you fucking people believe in, right? So you better follow through with it if that's what you believe in. That's a system you want. All right. So you got any other points to make? You want me to go into my
the only thing for Mr. Joe Biden running around, let's not forget in 1982 he voted to overturn Roe v. Wade.
Yeah, or he voted against it. He originally, I believe, voted against it or something like that. Yeah.
So there you go, you piece of shit.
Yeah. All right. So tweets of the week. I am gonna start here. I got one really bad one, but I'm gonna leave that for last.
Oh, I have one that we need to talk about. Yeah, it might be the same one.
Let's see. All right. So first tweet is from your Vice President, Kamala Harris. The rights of all Americans are at risk in this draft opinion. If the right to privacy is weakened, every person could face a future in which the government can potentially interfere in the personal decisions you make about your life. I mean, her eyes.
I need to pour another drink because of this shit.
Do I have to make the point? I guess I do, right? They just spent 2 fucking years, the Democrats, and some Republicans, making every decision for you in your personal life, whether it was wearing a mask or the big one, injecting an experimental fucking drug into your body. And if you didn't do it, you lost your job.
By the way,
Yeah, go
sorry to interrupt you. For anybody that's still listening, Pfizer dumped like 80,000 pages, and the evidence is apparently damning.
I tried to
So-
look into it. It's of
Yeah, I
course
know.
a lot.
I don't think I'll ever have time
Yeah.
to.
So obviously this is extremely fucking hypocritical. It's sometimes they still shock me, right? When they
Yeah.
do shit like this. This one shocked me, right? I mean, they really do think you're that dumb. They really do.
Yeah.
They treat you like imbeciles. My next one is from our good friend Defiant Els, who is just a master. He's a master of accountability, Defiant Els. And this is kind of what you were referencing before. This is from this was tweeted by Motherboard, and Motherboard is apparently like a Vice News magazine or something like that. And back in September 8th of 2021, Motherboard tweeted, Joe Rogan, has recovered from COVID-19 and used his first show back to spread misinformation about the horse deworming drugs he took. And then Motherboard tweets on May 3rd, 2022, misoprostol is relatively easy to acquire from veterinary sources, since in addition to medically inducing abortions, it's also used to treat ulcers in horses. They are advocating that you take horse medicine after they just defamed, were intellectually dishonest about the horse dewormer thing with Joe Rogan and everybody else, and the word that we can't even really say on YouTube, right? The thing is, what's the most wild about that is the horse dewormer thing. They, the left, made that shit up, right?
Yeah.
Like they made up the term horse dewormer, right?
Yeah.
Pointing it towards us. And then now they're telling you to use it again. Like it's okay. Like they made it up being bad, and now they're spinning it to you as use it. It's okay.
Like I said, they played themselves from the start with all of this. And it's all like, when you read stuff like this, it's hard to like, so coming from my point of view, when you read stuff like this, and then like I say like this crazy conspiracy theory and people don't buy it, I'm like we have to be at some point where we're watching a fucking movie play out now, because only in la la goo goo land of make believe do people fucking be like, this horse drug that can help you cure COVID is bad for you, but take this horse drug to kill a child inside your stomach. You know what I mean? Like we.
Yeah, I mean,
God,
speaking of Joe Rogan,
the crazy one.
Joe
right?
Rogan says that all the time. We've lived in a movie. Yeah, so let's get to my final tweet of the week. And
I'm wondering if it's the same one.
This is the worst one, and this is from Amanda Duarte.
Oh I have hers, but a different one.
Okay,
I got one that beats
all
this.
Right, so we'll get into it. So she tweets. Amanda Duarte is apparently an actress in New York City, like a B-list celebrity, but she got blue check. And she tweeted, I do wonder how these white supremacist lawmakers would feel if their little white daughters were raped and impregnated by black men. This was on May the 2nd. I mean, wow. What a statement. She deleted this, deleted her account temporarily. She has since apologized. Boy, I mean, was that racist or what? Holy shit. These are the not racist people. That was one of the most racist fucking things I've ever heard in my life.
She is off her fucking rocker. I have two, and we'll end with the Amanda tweet. So you have anything left to say about her? Because we're going to circle back.
What else could I possibly say?
All right. So I sent one to Skaggs, but it's that Ian Hanworth or whatever that I sent you the other day.
Okay. The one that was
couldn't determine. So interestingly enough, when the Roe v. Wade information broke out, for the first time, I followed your footsteps and I went to Twitter right away instead of going to Gab and all the different. And boy, like when you say war zone, you're not kidding. Like,
man, bullets are whizzing past your head.
Yeah, there is so much information on there that like we should get rid of Twitter. There's just too much information out there. And so I couldn't tell if this was satire or not. My pansexual queer 3-year-old child of color, Pebbles Solomon Hansworth, just read the political SCOTUS Supreme Court of the United States leak, looked up at me and asked through tears, "Non-birthing parent? Why would Ron DeSantis do this?"
Oh man, so it makes it even more funny that Chris, you couldn't figure out if that was real or not. Yeah,
It's because I like this is my first time on the battlefield, and I'm like, wait a second here. This got to be satire.
I'm a seasoned veteran. That was satire.
Yeah.
However, it was fucking hysterical, and it deserves to be mentioned in the tweets of the week because we're gonna go with good tweets. That was pretty funny. Yeah. And what do you got?
All right. So my Amanda, how do you say her last name?
Duarte or something like that.
Amanda Duarte. This was 11:15 p.m. Oh shoot, this is an old one. So this is one of her older tweets.
They got resurfaced
that,
because of what she said.
Sure. Yes. So what she said in yours was pretty heinous. This one is fucking off the wall.
Okay.
I almost want to get pregnant with Trump's baby and let it get to full term just so I can rip it halfway out and cut its fucking head off.
Wow, I didn't even see that one, dude. Wow, that is heinous. That is the words of someone else, by the way, YouTube. That was not us. We're not advocating for any sort of violence.
This is blue check mark.
Dude, that one might get us pulled down.
Amanda.
That's so heinous. That might get us kicked off of YouTube.
I like this person's unwell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, look, I get emotions are high. I get it's right versus left, blue versus red. But the idea to publicly state
something like
that you want to have a 9-month-old baby inside of you with a man that you despise so much. So in 9 months, you can cut its head off while half of it's still in you.
Yeah, that's some medieval shit, man. I mean, like that's creative, you know?
And we're supposed to be the domestic terrorists.
Yeah.
I've, as dark as I could get, never imagined doing anything like this. Okay. That's even too dark for me.
Hey man, blue check says it all. They're always blue checks. It's like a prerequisite, I guess. You're right though. Definitely not. You know, everything probably ain't working right up in the old
bro. Like this is beyond. Like, I hate Trump. This is beyond. I don't like this policy.
This is like burn ants with magnifying glasses type of shit.
Yeah, like I never, you know, most terrorists don't even act like this.
Osama was more kind. This woman. Yeah.
Holy
man,
shit!
That was a good episode, dude. I had a good time.
Yes.
A lot of information.
Fantastic.
A lot of laughs. I think we're going to incorporate the tweets of the week more often.
Yeah, definitely. We have to.
Yeah. All right. What else we got?
So coming in the weeks, we scheduled our buddy Mike he's the owner of 13 Stripes. He is partnering up, sponsoring our show, whatever you want to call it. Go to 13stripes.winery.com. Buy a case of Let's Go Brandon wine, and at checkout, use our promo code DOOMED for 10% off your purchase. I'm not going to spell it because I fucked it up last time like an idiot. And then the following week after that, we have our buddy Jeff returning to the show. He was with us and Sergeant Samurai at the Angry Orchard Brewery. He runs the Sons of Liberty discount company.
Sons of Liberty discount.
Awesome company. Go check them out. I really love what he does. He finds small veteran-owned businesses and he does promotions for them. And if you sign up and become a Sons of Liberty, you get a discount when you shop or use the services of these veteran-owned companies. Fantastic. He's also a history teacher, so that's going to be an awesome episode. So is Mike. He's another veteran. Maybe we should get, you know, Mike and Jeff's number out there together with each other, because that's veteran. 13 Stripes Winery is a veteran-owned company. So we got some good things cooking for the month of May.
Yeah.
Doom Nation. I hope you guys
I have one more thing also. I am going to be getting back together with the king of the trash realm, Jimbo the Kid. Our work schedules have not lined up for the past month or so, but he's got a day off tomorrow. So we will be recording another Slice of Doom, the first one in a while. That will be coming out some point after this episode. So check that out.
Nice. And then we'll have a couple more Doomed reviews for you. So Doom Nation, thank you guys. We hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Help us beat the shadow ban. and adios.
Good night.